Ladies and gentlemen, what have I been telling you about the Durham probe? I've been saying that the longer this goes on, the more that the Republican Party will defend the special counsel. And when I say the Republican Party, I mean people who perhaps have one foot in the Trump Republican world and one foot in the establishment Republican world. So Ted Cruz is that person. Ted Cruz oftentimes does a very good job. He had a brilliant exchange with a bureau representative pertaining to January. And so he does a good job a lot of the time, but then he will then do something that you say, oh my God, that makes you say, oh my God, this man is just basically an establishment Republican. So Cruz says Trump may be proved right on spying talk. The Texas senator was addressing a recent court filing by John Durham. This is Politico. Quote, if what special counsel John Durham is alleging is true, what Donald Trump said was absolutely right, Senator Ted Cruz said. So today, Senator Ted Cruz on Sunday said that Republicans could end up getting the last laugh after all the ridicule directed at then-President Donald Trump when he alleged that the Obama administration was engaged in surveillance of his campaign. You and I both remember when President Trump said Democrats are spying on me. The Texas Republicans set to host Bill Hemmer on Fox News Sunday, and the corporate media collectively laughed at him. They mocked him. They said, what a ridiculous claim for him to make. Well, the truth is that they will never admit. So hit subscribe to this channel right now. I have a live stream today at around 4:30 p.m. So I have an early one about 4:30 p.m. and a later one at around 9 p.m. So be here for this. I'll do 2 live streams today. Be here for the live streams. They're fantastic. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. We're seeing this take place in slow motion. And I'm going to be doing a lot more segments on the Stock Market Crash channel. Let's get that channel to around to over 20,000. We're almost at 20,000 on that channel. We're almost at 200,000 on this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, tell your friends. We're actually almost at 193. We're only a couple of ways, so tell your friends about this channel. We'll get to 193,000 and then on to 200,000. Hit subscribe if you want to support my work. My Patreon is below in the pinned comment. Be here for the live stream at around 4:30 p.m. Pacific time today. There is going to be... So, getting back to the Democratic Party and the Durham probe, they will never admit, even if Hillary Clinton wrote a letter of admission, signed saying, I, Madam Secretary, paid people to engage in surveillance and obtain data through legal and illegal means in order to frame and set up Trump and create a narrative that he was installed by the Kremlin simply to save face because we lost to Trump, signed Secretary of State Clinton. Even if that letter existed of admission where they admitted setting up and framing Trump, they still wouldn't completely acknowledge. They would say something like, well, you know, it had to happen because we had to find out this was all national security. They will never admit that they treated Trump in a manner that they would never allow. So you have to understand something. They get away with everything because they have essentially all of media. Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, every major newspaper, all of Hollywood, every social media algorithm, and they lie by omission. So you'll have a host on Scarborough on MSNBC. He'll say, you know what? There's nothing in here that says that the Democrats infiltrated his campaign. In fact, they don't even use the word infiltrate. He doesn't have to use the word infiltrate. A tech executive, hired a lawyer that was also hired by Clinton. Is that legal? Can Tech Executive 1 hire an attorney hired by Clinton? Sure. That Tech Executive 1 and that attorney hired by Clinton then obtained endless information about Donald Trump's internet usage, people that he knew, all of this information, and compiled that information within reports. Is that legal? I guess, sure, I guess. Apparently it is. That's legal. Nothing illegal, nothing against the law there. They just compiled reports. Well, they utilized they utilized their access to non-public data, so that's not really. So Durham could probably go after the people because there were people working for a university that was given that obtained a government grant. So people that were working to gather and acquire information on Trump's internet usage at Trump Tower, in the executive office of the president, and other locations, were given a government grant. So our tax dollars actually went to, in a roundabout way, surveillance of Trump. But is that 100% above board or legal? I don't know. I don't think so. But Durham didn't decide to indict. But anyway, do you have any, there's no bank robbery here. There are methodical, legal steps to engaging in political corruption. That's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. People say, well, you repeat yourself all the time. Yeah, well, these are concepts that are so important. And they're concepts that I think everyone needs to understand. And I wrote about this in the Federalist in 2019, about 4 or 5 articles. You can go to my author page, H.A. Goodman. Federalist. Just type in H.A. Goodman Federalist on Google. You'll see all my writing in the author page. What they did, which is why it's very difficult, why it's been so difficult to get people like Ted Cruz, and now there's a top House Intel Republican, so Mike Turner, you have more and more Republicans as part of the establishment or intelligence apparatus finally saying, hey, this is there's political utility in this, and also they did set up and frame Trump. More and more people are finally agreeing or seeing what I've been saying, but they are also coming to the realization that everything that was done against Trump was done through legal means initially. And the more you peel the layers of this onion, each layer is, nothing too egregious. It's legal. The Clintons are absolutely brilliant at utilizing media, attorneys, tech companies, tech executives to just, operatives like Peter Strzok, who was a FBI official, but you sold your soul to the Democratic Party if you're Peter Strzok. If you're Andrew McCabe, you're supposed to protect the people of the United States of America. And I'm not an ideologue. I'll vote for Tulsi Gabbard. If it's Tulsi Gabbard versus Mitch McConnell, I'll vote for Tulsi Gabbard. I don't want endless counterinsurgency conflicts. I don't want those things. But my thing is foreign policy. Basically, everything was done through legal means initially. Legal means. And it was done in a methodical manner. And that's why you have Republicans initially that didn't want to take on media, because media is an extension of the Democratic Party. That's not hyperbole. When they say, well, this is a trusted publication, what they say is, you can trust the publication to lie by omission. The new media tells the truth. Okay, listen, CNN will tell the truth about one part of an overall story. Reuters now is telling the truth about one part of an overall story. The Associated Press, the Washington Post will tell the truth. The New York Times will tell the truth. But it's the truth about one aspect of an entire story that does not give you the context, and that certainly doesn't give you the viewpoint of conservatives or Trump supporters or progressives or anyone who doesn't adhere to the viewpoint that, nobody would ever spy on Trump. And plus, he's capable of anything. So even if they did, it's good that that happened. That's the mentality. You have to actually be ignorant to believe all the things that were leveled against Trump. You have to actually lack intelligence or lack the ability to decipher what's right or wrong. People who believed that Trump was installed by the Kremlin, they believe this. They believe this only because they dislike Trump. And they said, well, an intelligence official said that Trump was installed, so he must be. We couldn't have lost to him. So there had to have been a reason for Trump, defeating Clinton. It couldn't have been that he was a better candidate. I mean, look at his personality. Meanwhile, I don't think mashed potato brains Biden is winning any personality contests. I mean, we're heading into a recession. I think Bitcoin is going to get to $10,000 per coin. I think Bitcoin's going to tank. I respect people who invest in Bitcoin. I respect the philosophy behind it, but I think it's going to tank. I think the Dow is going to get to 20,000. I think that the NASDAQ will probably, who knows where it'll be, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, who knows? S&P, like Jeremy Grantham said, could get to 25, 26, 27, 28,000, 2,800. So, oil, I mean, if Putin just parks those 100 to 200,000 soldiers there at the border for 5, 6, 7, 8 months, it'll get to well over 100. It's already almost at 100. And if there's something catastrophic that takes place, an actual invasion, it'll go way past 147, approaching close like 150, 160. So you're looking at inflation that's going to tank the economy, interest rates to combat the inflation that'll tank the economy, and the stock market crash will see 2,000 to 3,000 point drops. And I wrote about this in the Federalist in October. And you're going to see all of these things converge because the smartest people in the room said, we need to shut down the economy, shut down economic activity. And so now we have inflation that's rampant, runaway. And like I said, the interest rates to prevent inflation from continuing to skyrocket, that's going to tank the stock market and cause us to get into a recession. Or if we don't address inflation, the rampant and runaway inflation will bring us towards into a recession, and tank the stock market. The entire economy is hanging under a sort of Damocles. The foreign policy, in terms of foreign policy, we have no idea. Mashed potato brains Biden, Blinken, Jake Sullivan have no idea what they're doing. I mean, they obviously have no idea what they're doing. Every day, they're about to invade. Then you have this absurd mentality, that's really good because it's giving Putin an out. So now if he doesn't invade, it's to spite Biden. So it's good that Biden is continually wrong about when Putin's about to invade. It's like, first of all, Vladimir Putin does not care what the world thinks of him. He's the antithesis of an American political leader. Most American political leaders only care what people think of them. Putin does not at all. So he really doesn't care how he's viewed by anyone. They have an objective, a strategy, and the strategy is probably to keep soldiers there indefinitely, negotiate, and find some kind of deal promising that Ukraine will never join NATO, which is another issue, which is another reason you don't vote Biden or Clinton over Trump. A moral reason. It is a moral imperative to vote for Trump if you know anything about foreign policy or economic policy. If you don't want a recession, if you didn't want a recession, you should have voted Trump. If you didn't want this type of foreign policy where we're constantly at the brink of a nuclear confrontation or some kind of grandiose confrontation with Russia, then you should have voted Trump. But all you heard was that's immoral. You have a moral obligation to vote for Biden or Democrats. So Trump is immoral. You couldn't find the epicenter of corruption is the Democratic Party now. The epicenter of corruption 20 years ago was the Bush Republican Party. But anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Be here on this channel at around 4:30 today for the live.